Hey guys, WildHeart here, and today we'll do patch 14.23 rundown. Personally, I'm very excited about this patch. Like, I really was waiting this one. Why? Because this patch brings us a very important change that I was waiting for like 13 years basically. Um, to be specific, I was waiting for this change. Griffin and champion selection is changed, so now if you're doing bad things during champion selection, for example, let's say your team drafted something you don't like and you decided to pick Nunu, ADC, and troll the game, you will be punished for that. And Riot is very straight about it. They are not just saying that you will be like ranked banned or something. They are very straight about it. They are clearly saying that they will try to track the intention of this player, and if it's proven that the player had an intention to lose the game, then they will ban him. As simple as that. QR login part, well, this is not something I'm too excited about because honestly I never used Stratmobile myself. But that's cool quality of life change. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Wait, guys, do you hear the music? Okay, you hear it. Ambassa. This thing I didn't find out. Just want to be transparent with you guys. I've read the patch myself, so it's like my second or third time going over patch notes now. So I'll be brief and just will introduce you to the small details and bigger details that is important to figure out. With Ambassa, this looks like just a quality of life change, nothing really serious, nothing really important. Aurora. Aurora is kind of reworked, however I feel like that's a nerf because they buffed your damage, they buffed your movement speed, slightly, that's important to understand, slightly buffed, but also they removed the possibility for her ulti to block the target. So now, when someone is leaving Aurora's arena, the target is slowed. What I would do instead would, like, if my intention would be to remove the possibility of Aurora's arena to block the targets from leaving, to prevent them from leaving, I would do something like that she would apply roots on targets who are leaving the arena in like 1 second after leaving it. So instead of slowing them by 75%, just root them. Root them for 1 second, for 1.5 seconds. That doesn't really matter. Just give a better alternative, because I feel like 75% slow is great, but not exactly what this champion needs to have. I feel like root would be just better. Azir has slight buff on his W, and honestly this is not a bad change for those who play Azir because he got quite some nerfs recently with his laning phase HP fusion and so on. This is a completely different change that mostly targeting his late game, so his scaling part, and honestly this is one of the best things that they can buff to Azir without making him broken, which is also important. Caitlyn was super popular last patch, was borderline being broken. Actually, she was broken in a way, and now, as always, when Caitlyn becomes popular, she gets nerfed. As simple as it is. Jinx got a nerf targeting her lethality builds, so they are compensating with AD, but honestly, this compensation is not something that balances up the nerf because they cut her 20% AD scaling on W, whereas they're giving 0.2 AD. To put it simple, at level 10 you will have plus 2 AD. Not too cool, I guess. Not too cool. So yeah. Kha'Zix gets a very interesting adjustment, nerf. I'm not sure. Probably nerf. Probably just nerf. And while I can understand the Void Spike slow nerf because it's a little bit too strong, I don't really like armor nerf because Kha'Zix is a duelist. Kha'Zix is an assassin who is good at dueling, at 1v1 in the targets, and by the concept he is assassin, as I already told. And reducing his armor kind of kills his potential to 1v1. Also, this nerf will make him finish the clear with lower amount of HP at the end. So I'm not a big fan of armor nerf, to be honest. I really like Void Spike evolution nerf, but base armor, nah. I'm not a big fan of it. I wouldn't really do it if I would be the designer. Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw was really strong in his AP build with Arcane Comet and Nashortus build last patch. So people were simply maxing E to perma wave clear and play bot lane kind of non-interactively and get free scaling. So you were skipping the laning phase and getting to the part where Kog'Maw is already strong enough and already kind of scaled. Honestly, I'm super big fan of this idea of nerfing his E, especially its AP scaling. However, flat damage nerf, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. I would probably nerf it even a little bit more. But I don't really like an idea of changing Q this way. So yes, it's pretty much the same at level 4 of spell. It's stronger at level 5 of spell. But I personally would prefer this linear scale of plus 2% every level rather than getting plus 4 but having better scale at the end. I feel like previous version of the spell was more suitable. I think so. But yeah, the idea of nerfing E and AP build in general for bot lane specifically is a very good idea. I don't really want Kog'Maw to be a dead champion on mid lane in AP build, but on bot lane I don't really want to have like non-interactive matchups. It's just hella boring and can actually be a very annoying lane to deal with. If Kog'Maw plays with someone like Lux or Zera, they'll just poke you to the death, and even if jungler helps you, sometimes it will not help, in fact. Master Yi. Master Yi gets plus 10% level 11, plus 20% level 16 on ulti. Honestly, I don't think that's the reason why Master Yi is not that strong, is not too popular now. I think what makes him strong is his Alpha Strike and his Wuju style, his Q and E spells, but I do understand why Riot don't want to buff these spells, because it's very difficult to balance those spells. So they are working with Highlander. Probably it's a better idea, because with Meditation you cannot really change much about this spell without reworking the champion or a spell. Q and E it's difficult to balance, so they're working with Ultimate. Misfortune, Q mana cost decreased. That's a great change for low ranks. For high ranks, it's whatever, because in high ranks no one picks Misfortune, no one plays her. So yeah, it's simply a change for lower ranks. I would say below Diamond, that's a good change. Ramos gets massive buff on Q, minus 4 seconds cooldown. That's something that I would personally appreciate a lot if I would be Ramos main. By the way, Ramos was my I think second champion who I got skin beast was Ninja Ramos back in the days. But yeah, Q cooldown reduction is actually great. 12 seconds opens you space to max E, and honestly, I would probably max E now, because now at level 1 of your Powerball you have about the same cooldown as you had on level 3. I'm not really sure about it. Probably Q is still better maxing. I'm not certain about this. This is one of the spells that is difficult to balance, because you don't really want to buff movement speed. Or what else you can buff on it? Probably just movement speed, right? Damage is kinda whatever at this point. But yeah, this is a really good buff, I really love it. Rel got mini rework, I would say. Passive gives you on-hit damage based on your armor and magic resistance, but to put it simple, it's dog shit. I did some quick math, and according to what I achieved, it gives you around 25 damage, 30 damage, when you have about 300 armor and 200 magic resistance. So it's like super late game, when everyone is full build, you have plus 25 uh, magic damage on hit, which is completely dogshit, especially given the fact that you are melee champion. Like, this on hit damage is like, what? Like, bro, either give her extra durability or give her extra CC. She doesn't need, like, this on hit is completely useless. It's like super useless. Also, it doesn't scale at all. What I don't really like, it doesn't scale at all. So if it would be like this early on, and if it would scale to, let's say, 15% at least to 15%, that could be a thing. But with these numbers, it's like completely dead idea. Still, Rel is not too bad. She got some changes that make her not as strong as she was. However, what is important to pay attention to is her E. Her E does much more damage now. So earlier it was giving you 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 damage. Plus AP scaling, plus 3% maximum health of the target. Now it simply scales of target's maximum health. So against squishier targets, it will be about the same damage. Against tankier targets, the damage will be much higher. Like, actually much higher. Also, the cooldown now scales based on rank. So yeah, that's not too bad. But overall, I'm slightly negative about the changes. Also the stats changes I forgot to tell you about. Basically, Rel becomes squishier in both armor and magic resistance. Pretty much all the stats are getting reduced. What is especially sad is her movement speed. Movement speed minus 15 is crazy. It's actually a crazy amount. But mana regen is increased. Do we need mana regen? No, we don't need mana regen at all. So yeah, like, I'm very skeptical about this change. I think she needs another set of changes, because this sounds just like something I will not use at all. Maybe some people will, maybe I don't understand something, but this sounds just too bad to me. In everything, base stats and skills as well. Rengar has crazy buff, plus 50% total AD scale. Important, not bonus AD, not base AD, total AD. So all items you buy, all AD you get by leveling up your champion, everything will be included. Plus some juicy armor shred. That's not too much, that's not something important. What's important is bonus damage. Squishier targets will die super quickly now. This is a very big threat to ADCs, squishy supports, mages, anyone. So be careful with Rengar, because this champion is back at killing you in 0.5 seconds or even faster. Shyvana, magic resist growth decreased, E damage decreased. So once again, AP damage, flat AP damage is not touched, but scaling is reduced by 10%, which I personally don't really like at all, because she already got nerfed multiple times. I don't think that AP Shyvana is any strong any longer. However, they're getting numbers really close to AD scaling. So now AD scale and AP scale has only 20% difference. So I would say AD build has huge benefit over AP build now, because well, Flame Breath will do less damage, but your Q damage will do much more, plus auto attacks. Overall, Shyvana in AD build also does much more damage to objectives. So some bruiser AD build, something like people use on Darius, on Yorick, on Elau, and Camille, will suit Shyvana perfectly. Skarner has minus 1% on bonus health scaling on Q, which is not too bad. Champion is still very strong, I would say. Champion is still very strong, especially for higher tiers. On lower tiers, I wouldn't really recommend this champion, because he has very limited carry potential. If you're in a setting of a bad team, of like low rank team, but on high rank, this is an elo machine. This champion is like really strong. Smolder has so many changes. Overall, to put it simple, champion got buffed at literally everything besides his late game. His late game is slightly nerfed, but it's extremely well compensated with how good he's going to be early and mid game now. His damages are like really good, like super good. Yeah, and also his AP scalings are reduced, so pay attention. If you've been building Leandris, probably you need to take some time to rethink your build, because Liandry looks just bad because AP scalings are reduced now, uh, while AD scalings are much better now. So you require AD even more now. That's a problem. But yeah, overall, every single spell is buffed. So Smolder is probably going to return to top, to mid, to ADC, to any possible role again. Tamkinch is getting his passive nerfed. Uh, that's mainly because of his AP build with how it's Heart Steel Riftmaker. And yeah, this build is like really annoying to deal with. I totally agree with the nerf. Uh, I really love that they didn't nerf flat numbers of Devour shield strengths, but nerf the AP scaling. That's really good way to balance this champion, because I feel like Tamkinch the champion originally was not designed to be AP champion. Timo E got nerfed for jungling. Not that big of a deal, 25%. Yes, that's something that Timo mains might notice, but that doesn't really kill him. You can still play Timo jungle, so yeah, enjoy. Zac got his Q nerfed by 1% of Zac's maximum health, and I do not really understand why Riot say that they address this nerf to top lane specifically, because this nerf will have influence on each role that Zac has played, on top, on support, on jungle, sometimes on mid lane. I don't really see a relation to top lane specifically. If they would say that they nerf the passive healing on his blobs, that would make much more sense. But now, no, I see no point in it. Collector got plus 52 price, because the item became too popular after series of buffs, and that makes sense. That makes sense because I see Collector almost every game, almost on every AD champion now, beside Bruisers. So yeah, Yomus is nerfed for ranged users. I'm not certain for who exactly it was nerfed beside Aphelios, honestly, because in last patch the only ranged champion who I saw building Yomus was Aphelios. I think it's probably related to Queen as well, but I haven't seen any Queen last patch. Probably these two. Akshan I didn't see last patch as well, but I'm not really sure if he needs Yomus. So I only... Oh, actually Graves. I forgot about Graves. But yeah, it's only Graves Aphelios, those two champions who come to my mind. Yuntal got quite some serious buffs, like plus 2 seconds on the passive, minus 10 seconds cooldown, while you still reset it with your auto attacks. Crazy fucking stuff. Price is reduced by 100 as well. This item is going to be gold at this patch, that's for sure. All the ADCs who want to build Yuntal Valderos have to build Valderos. Probably only ADCs who don't really want it are champions who don't really need attack speed at all. So like Draven, maybe Misfortune, and even Misfortune, I can't see how she can use Yuntal in certain cases, honestly. But generally speaking, this item is great for champions who rely on both AD, attack speed, and kiting, I believe, because of attack speed, right? So something like Jinx, Caitlyn, potentially Ashe. Actually, I'm certain there are going to be plenty of users for this item, because this item have some crazy numbers now and very cheap pricing at the same time. Bounty adjustments. So maximum possible contribution from gold leads has been doubled for larger gold leads. Smaller gold leads are unaffected. So if someone gets like really fat, if a team gets really fat, I believe that now in this setting, in these changes, you are going to stack the bounty on the most fed champion much faster. So let's say you're playing against 10-0 Aurelia. In last patch she would have something like 300 bounty, now she'll have around 600-700 bounty, if I get it right. Yeah. So the idea the idea is to once again slow down the pace of the game, as I get it at least. So scaling comps can be more peaked, more targeted, but at the same time, I really hate the idea of this concept because it also kills the solo carry potential. It kills individual potential of a player, and even if you're an outstanding player and you do everything right, you will be forced to play long games in certain cases. That's a problem of this change. So I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it. But yeah, that's it for patch 14.23. That was quite quite quickly today because I knew this patch by heart already. So yeah, uh, this patch I believe you should pay attention the most to Smolder and Rengar. These two champions are like really good in my mind. Like all the buffs are so strong on Smolder, and on Rengar that's only one buff, but the power of this buff is actually crazy. So yeah, that's it for patch 14.23, guys. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and see you in 14.24. Bye.